This year, 12 teams. You're part of the Kansas City Stingers. You mentioned it just a minute ago. How do you become a part of that?
At 50, we're playing pickleball, but the beautiful thing about the league, and I will say since we've joined the league, Kansas City's joined the league, that the community that you enter every weekend, every match weekend is amazing. You see the same people, you give the hugs, you give the high fives, you give the slaps, even not from your team.
Because it's funny too, Daryl, and I don't mean this offensively at all, but like 50 years old is young, right? Like they can still ball. They're still professional athletes and incredible pickleball players. What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining us. Episode 36, 37. Daryl, I don't even know. I should probably have researched this before we get on here, but 0 Start podcast with Kansas City Stingers, Daryl Wyatt. Now, Daryl, we're going to get into all this stuff because what I think is the NPL, I think, is amazing. The Kansas City Stingers is obviously close to our heart, being a Kansas City company. There's a lot to talk about there. But let's talk about you just to start this thing off and your journey into pickleball, because everybody that we've talked to has a different entry into our sport, whether it's volleyball, soccer, basketball. It does obviously tennis and table tennis and racquetball, right. But I haven't heard the same one twice. So tell me a little bit about your history getting into the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations on 30 high 30s in episodes. That's pretty neat. Good job. Very nice. But and thanks for having me, Ben. I appreciate it. But I kind of fell into pickleball. My background's tennis, played tennis in college, played junior tennis, played on the pro tour for a little bit until I got hurt. And so that and even at that point, after being injured in tennis, I kind of took a step away from tennis for a long time, just that whole frustration of that's what you do forever. And then now what, and try to figure out, well, there's actually life outside of, how the junior sports, as you try to get quote unquote good or what have you, the time kind of commitments that are involved. So I kind of figured out another way. And so for so long, I didn't do anything in tennis, but at the same time, tennis is what and eventually came back and started coaching. So really, I just coaching tennis, had heard about pickleball, played a couple times, but just being a tennis guy, I just probably didn't give it a fair shake as many staunch tennis players do. But eventually I just continued coaching, and I had friends, and I would see friends and talk about pickleball more and more. And I used to play a lot of beach tennis for a little while. So I'd go, and there was one lady who would always talk about pickleball who had come over for beach tennis. And I heard about it, and then finally teaching at a club and teaching tennis, but at a tennis club, and it wasn't going well for them. And they tried to add pickleball, and eventually they finally said, forget it. And being that I had a relationship, they asked if I'd be interested in giving it a shot. So I said yes. I don't know why, but I said, yeah, let me see. And I maintained tennis, but I saw pickleball growing. So, we also offered, it was kind of a combo, one of these combo clubs where we had 3 tennis courts, but they doubled into 6 pickleball courts. So really for me, it was a small business just starting. We didn't have very many clients at all. So I would teach mine and teach my tennis lessons and watch pickleball kind of grow and continue to grow and keep growing. And I would sit at the desk and people would ask me about pickleball, and I would learn a little bit, but I really relied on some of the guys that were that were at the club initially to help with running leagues and all that. But I would just sit back and learn, and everyone would ask, do you teach? Do you play? And I would say no all the time. And that kind of got, you say no once and you own the club, and that doesn't really make any sense. So I broke down and jumped on the pickleball court and started playing. And I know you hear this, like almost instantly, you're like, oh, this is fun, instantly. And so it became one of those situations where, it started out and I justified it as, oh, I have to do it for the business. But then like a week later, I'm calling guys, asking them, hey, you want to play today, or you want to drill? And I still don't know. I'm still playing like a complete tennis player though. I have no idea about what's going on, but I just know it's one of these fun sports. And you always look at it. I would look at it and say, am I going to get a workout? Or, you never know until you really get out there. Um, and the workout was great. And then so from that was my kind of entree into pickleball. And then this was about a little over a year ago. And then having the club and seeing, I've never seen anything grow from a business side of it as I saw this. Every day we were getting new members sign up for profiles. And so we actually made a decision and we took one tennis court out. So that's how quickly, that from play to, wow, this is really it. It didn't take very long. We took one tennis court out and made more pickleball courts, and we're actually going to do that again, which here in the fall. So that's kind of how I got into it, and kind of how quickly, wow, here we are in pickleball. And I still teach a ton of tennis every day, but it's interesting how much pickleball I play.
And it's only going to continue to be more and more, Daryl, and more and more. And then tennis is just going to start slowly getting trimmed off of the schedule until it's 100-0.
See, and so it's funny. I've started seeing that. And so I'm already there. I'm not taking, I don't take any new clients really. I don't have the time, because also we're opening a new facility. So I have a facility here, but we're also opening a new facility. So there's got to be that give and take, and there's only but so much time. And I've got a great group that we all work together and get it done. But I still know that time. You're so right. There's going to be that time where there's like, yeah, when tennis is a distant past,
Well, so let's talk about, we got to talk about something that's, I know it's not totally new, but I do think it's flying a little bit under the radar, but not when when the masses start to find out about it.
Right.
Because you're playing for the Kansas City Stingers, which is part of the NPL. Can you talk to us a little bit about what the NPL is and how it's so professional pickleball as a team, not part of the MLP, and there's a big difference why. And I'll let you kind of walk through walk through it to tell people what the NPL is all about.
Absolutely. NPL stands for the National Pickleball League, and it is an over 50 professional pickleball league. So that's what it is in a nutshell. And really, when I first heard about it, I was wondering the same thing, like, how does this work, or what is the deal? But what it is in its second year, this is year 2. First year there were 6 teams, and they started with 6 teams. And each team would have, the first year each team took 18 players, and you would play in pods. So there were 4 pods. Your top 2 men, top 2 women comprise a pod, and they would have four of those pods. So you would play and you play a mix of gender doubles and then mixed doubles. So each of those pods, you add those scores up, and that determines your winner. So really, and that's all determined through a draft process, and it's insane how that really works, and what goes into the draft, and the studying. Part of the studying we had to do to learn all of these players, especially being new to the pickleball industry. So this year they've decreased it. So this year there are 14 players per team. You play 3 pods. Your top four, your top 2 males, top 2 women play in the first pod. Then your next 2 in the second pod, next 2 and third pod. And so there are the first team to 13 wins that. You got to win by 12. 12 matches. You win 7-5 at 6-all. You play a team breaker, which is, we played 2 this past weekend, which are interesting, where all of your team who's played in that particular match against, let's say it's Oklahoma. Everyone who's played against Oklahoma has to play, but you can change the lineup. You can have gender, you can have male, male, female, female, or you can have mixed. You just have to set them up in order. So for example, let's say you have females doubles in your line in your first pair. They would go out against the other team. The first team to get to 2 points, then the next line comes in. Then the next team to get to 4 points, the next line comes in, and you go all the way up and you play it to 11. So there's a little, so that makes it 11 by 1. So, for example, we played Seattle this weekend. We lost 11-10 in the Dream Breaker for a 7-6. But, and it's great. Of course, we all hate losing. But that format makes it so much fun. I mean, the interaction the fans had, and I say fans, when you think about it, at 50 plus, where can you say there's fans watching you do anything, other than PGA and some other things? But it's really a great atmosphere. And everyone seems to like it. There are 180 some odd players in the league, all distributed over 12 teams. And each weekend, well, once a month for 6 months, and we began in May, all 12 teams get together in one venue and they'll play it out. So you won't play every team each weekend. So for the first weekend, you'll play 4 other teams. You'll play a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, and you'll play 4 teams each weekend. So over the course of the season, you'll play a few teams twice, but you'll get everyone in. And the first 5 weekends kind of set up the seedings going into championship weekend, which is that 6th weekend.
Well,
if that makes sense, that's a lot, but if that makes any sense.
That was a lot, but I think it's not identical to MLP, obviously, but it's kind of got the same principles in a little bit. But
exactly,
I think we get it, and it just seems really cool. So this year, 12 teams. You're part of the Kansas City Stingers. You mentioned it just a minute ago. How do you become a part of that? Like, how does someone become a part of that Kansas City Stingers or any of the teams on there? Because you mentioned the word, which I thought was pretty cool, and it's not really known in pickleball, but it's known in football incredibly well, in other sports, but football is really the one. But there's a combine. Is that how you pick teams to be part of the NPL team?
So here's how it was done. From last year's original 6 teams, there were however many players that were in the league last year, whatever that math is. So those players had the option to go play in the combines. Now, what the combines are, you sign up and you have to be accepted based on your ratings or what have you, and there's that acceptance. Once you get into a combine, and they hosted one in Florida and one in Texas, were sanctioned by the NPL and hosted directly by the NPL. So you would have 80 men and 80 women at each coming to play and to see who would come out and finish in the top 2 pods, and that kind of determined the ranking that we went down when it came to the draft. So the combine, you'd go in, and each day you'd be assigned to a pod with 8 players, and you play with those 8 players all day, and whoever the top 2 out of your pod come out, and they go to the final day, which is those final top 2 pods, and then the winner of the combine automatically gets drafted, male and female. They automatically get drafted by a team in the league. And then the rest, what happened was we just had ratings. So the league would go through and give us ratings and the records of how everyone did in each combine against everyone. And then we'd have to sift through and kind of compare and go through tournament records as well as their ratings and kind of determine where you wanted to draft. Now, this draft pool is huge. Even if you didn't go into a combine and let's say your rating was high and you didn't go in the combine, you could still enter the draft and put your name in the pool. And then the league would still rank you according to where you are. So there were so many people that played last year that did well, that are known, that didn't play either combine, but because of their rating, they entered the draft pool and still got drafted. So it's really not limited to playing in the combine. It's just, it helps with the visibility, because as I played in the first combine. Now, here's the story. Initially, I just wanted to play in the combine, and that's how I learned about the NPL. At my club here, we had two guest coaches come in, and they actually had played for the NPL last year and spoke so highly. So I wanted to just play in the combine. So I played in the first combine, but how it works is you got owners. All the owners are there walking around. They give you a name tag with a number on the back. And the owners are walking around just like at the NFL or something, taking notes. I like this person. This is where they're from. this is how they did, this is how they play, and all of these other kind of metrics that they kind of measure, and that's how the combines really work. Now, we also, once Kansas City, once we, determined that we had a team, each city can throw their own combine. So we threw a combine here for men and women, and with yours, you can guarantee, because you can use your draft picks, that if the winner, we guarantee that the winner of our combine, male and female, would get an automatic entry. So there are so many ways that you can enter, but you're not limited to if you want to sign up and you want to go, just say I'm a 3-5, I'm a beginner, I just want to throw my name in. Yeah, absolutely. If I'm a 8-0 and I've never played the combine, there's no 8-0, but if I've never played, I can still throw my name in. So it's inclusive of everyone.
That sounds cool. So the combine isn't necessarily like open to the public, come in and like try out. It's the NPL players. And within the NPL players, there's a combine that kind of ranks everybody and it helps the draft process.
Well, actually, the initial combines, you can just sign up. It's open for anyone to sign up. Now, because of limited space last year and they weren't sure, there was actually a wait list. So they had to implement, certain kind of
Criteria.
guidelines with which, certain criteria. So they implemented those, but anyone can sign up. So, which is the positive is, next year, there's potentially going to be more combines because there were just that many people that wanted to join. And so many people who didn't know, who had heard about it but didn't know what the NPL was, or were kind of fearful, or I don't know if I should do it. But now that it's been going on, and even after our combine at the club, I walk through our club every day and people are like, I'm training for next year, I'm going to be in the combine. So that's the really neat part about it, and it gives people something to look forward to. At 50, we're playing pickleball, but the beautiful thing about the league, and I will say, since we've joined the league, Kansas City's joined the league, that the community that you enter every weekend, every match weekend, is amazing. You see the same people, you give the hugs, you give the high fives, you give the slaps, even not from your team. You get caught up watching other teams, and you get to play a lot. I mean, you really play a lot of a high level pickleball. So when you couple that, it's just a win-win for everybody.
So that's cool. That's even cooler. I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
So it starts off. So this thing has the potential there could be combines in every corner of the US that just kind of start whittling down into like this final combine. And if you make the list, that list is and you can be drafted. Do they draft once a year? Is it like, hey,
Yep.
Daryl, you'll play on Kansas City this year, but your contract expires in 1 year?
Right. So that's the interesting point. So that's what we've been talking about it amongst the league. Okay. So the way from last year to this year, everyone went back into the pool. So that's because, and it makes a benefit because of just the small number of teams, but as the league grows, and this is only its second year, as the league grows, then there's always talks about, okay, how do you develop a team that is known within your city? Well, then are there going to be players that you can keep, or how does that go? Or do you throw back into the pool again next year? So that's something that they're working out. But by and large, it's been either way, because the beautiful thing is, last year, for example, we were in Ohio just this past weekend, and one of our players, actually, I saw them interact with their old team, and they were just the greatest friends. They went out to dinner, they do some things, and they came to dinner with us. So it's one of those kind of things where you want to build that familiarity with your city, but at the same time, it's still new, so it's nice. So we still got to, spread it around and get everyone in. But I think one of the things that's coming soon is that with the response that we've seen, or I've personally seen, it's not going to be long before then you can start doing that, because I've heard from last year to this year, just the sheer numbers have just increased so much that it's amazing. It'd be interesting to see how that goes next year. And like you said, then there'll be combines at every corner of the country, and then they can feed in, and and then there'll be more teams they're looking at, and ideally be like to, get a few more teams coming in, and as the league grows, that's kind of where it go. That's kind of what the thought is.
So Daryl, what are you doing here then? You need to be training. Your contract is up. When is your contract up? You got to get out
Hey,
there.
so I know, and it's funny because I'm co-owner with a couple of people in Kansas City, and that's the joke, is like, okay, if I'm not training, am I going to get cut? Will I get cut from my own team? So that's kind of, but the one thing I will say is that as a result of the league, and you're going to play very good players each week, I do get my training in now. I've set aside time where I have to train, and if I don't, then the level of pickleball is just the sheer depth and the level of player has gotten so strong that you can't just kind of, oh, I'll see it next week, and then you'll be okay if you want to do well. That's not the way it's going to be.
Well, this is super cool, and I've been a big fan of the MLP because I love that pickleball has so many elements of the sport. Like, you can play singles, you're on your own. You can play doubles, and you're kind of on your own, right? Like, you have one teammate, but the team aspect is, I mean, it's there, but it's not there in mass. But now we have like MLP and minor league too, right? Both minor and major league pickleball, where you're on part of a team. And now, like, the NPL, I think is such a cool, because it's funny too, Daryl, and I don't mean this offensively at all, but like 50 years old is young, right? Like they can still ball. They're still professional athletes and incredible pickleball players.
See, no, and me being new, and that's the other thing. As a fan now, I've become a fan because you see what goes into some of these highly, highly ranked guys and women that are playing, and you see the shots that they make and how skilled they are, and it's really impressive.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. It's really impressive, and you see some of these older guys, 50, and you're right, it's not that old. You see some of these guys, I see their names in the draws at PPA, still at APP events with the young kids, and they're still holding their own a little bit. But these, I mean, I'm lucky. I've got on my team, I got to draft Jen Dawson. We've got some great players, but Jen Dawson, whose name in pickleball is just, you say pickleball, you almost know, everyone knows who Jen Dawson is. But and until you meet them and see them up close play, I've always heard about how wonderful a player. And we've also got, we got Chris Kessner, Kim Kessner and David George and Saad. That's our line one. And watching these guys, not to say anything about the rest of our team, but you always hear about these top flight players. And then when you really get close and see the shots that they hit and actually even hit a ball or two against them, you realize how good they really are.
Yeah. And I love this NPL thing. I guess I don't want to put you on the spot, Daryl, but
No.
February 11th, 2035.
Right.
I turned 50. Can we just say it right now?
We got it. You're inked. We got a contract all ready to go. Don't you worry. We got you already.
All right. Well, I'm in then. Good. I mean, I don't want to rush. Like, I don't want to, let's let this 11 years kind of play out how they will, but
no, you're a stinger. You're a stinger already.
What's funny, and this is real. I just think this is hilarious because they're so innocent. But my 6-year-old, he plays all-star baseball, and our arch nemesis is called the Canton Stingers. And we were on a call with Livy on your team, and she said, "Oh yeah, the Kansas City Stingers." And my kid came over in the middle of the call, and he goes, "Canton, you're on the phone with the Canton Stingers." No.
Oh, that's awesome.
No. These are friends. These are good people.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, tell him he'll be of that age. He'll remember, and I'll bring that up on opening day, your first match. I'll be like, remember when your dad was talking about the
your dad's a stinger now. He'll never let me live it down, but maybe one day.
No, that's awesome, and I'm glad you mentioned that. So another thing I want to mention is I've been really fortunate, with this team and the administrative and the marketing. We've got Livy. we've got Livy Abney who does our sponsorships. We got Danielle Lehman who does our marketing, and then we've got Julie Gibson. She's a co-owner, but she really is instrumental in dealing with the league, and we do our competition meetings, and but she's really keeps everything in order. So a huge thanks, and then also a huge thanks to Community Builders, who's partnered with us in this team and with the facility. I can't thank those groups enough because they've really made this possible. It's nice. It's all talk until you get people to really do it, and they've made it not only possible, but they've made it enjoyable because they take a lot of. I'm no good at that stuff. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm
Yeah, it takes
not,
a
but they
village.
make they make it possible. So I just want to give a shout out because sometimes it goes it goes unsaid.
When they spoke very highly of you too. So you guys will just maybe you guys clearly think equally of each other, like that you guys, they were speaking very highly of you. You're doing the same, but having talked to both of you guys, I also feel like you guys are both awesome people. So I will give you both props on doing that.
I appreciate.
How do we
I appreciate
watch?
that.
How do we watch? So if I
Yeah.
want to root, that's another thing I love about. I would love. I'm gonna go off on a tangent here potentially, but I would love for I'm from Chicago, so I root for all the Chicago teams.
Right.
Half of that community is like building like relationships, or not relationships, but like building loyalty to the players on the team. So I would love for those teams to like stick around for a minute. So like you can just continue to root for them. It's like, I want a Wyatt Stinger jersey with Wyatt's name on it. Like it'd be cool if in the years to come, like they sign a 5-year deal. Like you're a 5-year deal with this team.
Yep. That's the idea. And as we talk in meetings, I get that sentiment from all the owners too, because then that makes it, for us as team owners, that makes it so much better to speak to community. So when we're advertising and marketing, we got this player. Oh, I remember them from last year, or I remember them from the year before, and they're my favorite player.
Veteran, yeah.
Exactly, that's our veteran. And like you say, for jerseys, we've had people ask for jerseys of people on our team this year. So people are starting to get that, and as long as that continues to go, that would really be something that's really amazing.
That would
absolutely 100%.
I think that'd be super cool. But back to what I was asking before I went off on a little tangent, although I think that was a good one. How do we watch you guys play? Where can we watch you guys? Do they live stream all the events that we can watch?
Yep. Each weekend, every match is live streamed. So every court that they put matches on, so they'll generate a schedule, and it's generally no order. So you'll have a pod 2 followed by a pod 1, or a pod, all followed by a pod 1, followed by pod 3. There's no order, or pod 3 will start. But you can go to the NPL website, National Pickleball League website, and there's a link for streaming, and it'll bring up all the courts that are streaming and all of the times. And the NPL does a very good job. They put on their social media the day schedules, so they'll let you know who's playing where and what day and what team, what are the matchups. So they do that pretty well, and then you can keep track. And their score, usually they have volunteers that keep track of each match that's going on. Now, sometimes it gets a little squirrely, but with all the excitement, but they keep a good track, and you can get on and watch matches so that we get it out, so that we can get our members to be able to see. And it's great because I come back after a weekend and our members like, I saw you guys play. I saw this match, or way to go, tough try. So we're
going to watch. I can't wait to watch. I just think this whole thing is cool. I just love all the growth in pickleball, and like, there is nobody excluded from any category, whether it's professional, amateur. I think it's just really cool, but I really like this aspect of it. And especially like, if you think about the pool of players, you guys might have like one of the hardest places to play, because so much of the percentage of pickleball players are 50 plus anyway. So your pool that you have to fight against to get on one of these teams is so huge.
And you are 100% right. Going through the draft, when the draft was all said and done, we still had a list of players we wanted to draft, but we just we couldn't. So there are so many players and quality players that aren't playing this year simply because there weren't not enough spaces. And that's a testament to that demographic and how well they play. Because I remember looking, and I mean, even on our draft sheets, for each, we had so many players at the end. So for our round one, if we didn't get so and so, we had 3 or 4 for each place on the team. So there were so many players that we feel that could step in. Even now, even on the sub list, they'll step in and they play just as well as anybody. So it's an amazing, amazing. It's a special thing. It really is, and it's nice to see, and it's great for that for us at this age, and we get to go in and it's like being in a fraternity or a sorority again. You know, you go out to dinner with your teammates, and
A lot healthier, though.
it's
A lot healthier.
far healthier, and more
When's the last
productive.
time you went to bed at 5 a.m., Daryl?
Right, and more productive. We're getting up at 5 now to go trade, not going to
That's
bed
right.
anymore. So that's the difference. But it's been so neat, and to do that, and I think that's what's going to make this really, really special.
Yeah, and I think it already is, but it's just going to keep getting more special. Where are you off to next? Where are we watching you the next time you play?
Next the Stingers, we're going to play in Cincinnati, July 19th. That weekend again, we're playing in Cincinnati that July weekend. So there are a few tournaments we'll play. I'll play in the meantime. Actually, speaking of keeping up with, and trying to stay sharp. So I'll play a few tournaments, but then we'll go to Cincinnati in July, and then we'll be back in Kansas City in August. So we're working out to have some good events and get a good turnout in Kansas City, and then go to Houston in October, and then the championship weekend. No, we go to championship weekend, I believe. We haven't announced that, but that's kind of August. September is Houston, and then championship weekend, will be October, but they haven't announced that yet.
Where are you playing at in Kansas City, Daryl?
I own SW19 tennis and pickleball, so I play here a lot. But you know what? I play at every club. Like, for example, I'll play in a league at another club tonight. We've got a league night, and I play everywhere. Wherever someone wants to play, call me and I'm playing. No question about it.
Are you playing at PickleCon though in August at the?
I am. They're bringing, actually all 12 teams are coming in town, and we will be playing in Bartle Hall Convention Center. They're laying down 100 courts or something that's just going to be insane, and we're going to play our weekend during PickleCon. So for anyone in town, anyone watching, please come out and check us out and support. Any questions, you can get on the social media and ask at KC Stingers, or get on our webpage and anything, and we're looking for volunteers, so please reach out. And also, I want to give and I appreciate this, and it's funny. So I play with Mosey Paddles, and I've coming from tennis to field, tennis and pickleball, the paddles are field, bracket paddle, what have you, ball. So I kind of was in my midst of learning and starting to play and learning, okay, this paddle, I thought it was fine, but no, whoa, this paddle feels so much better. So I just want to give a good little shout out, and I appreciate Jake and the crew at Mosey, because they make sure they take care of me and make sure I've got everything I need.
Awesome. Well, good. Hey, Daryl, good luck on the journey. I baited you into the August one because I knew that you were going to play in Kansas City, because we are going to be at the tournament at PickleCon.
Yes.
And we're hosting what we're calling the biggest party in the history of pickleball.
I've already RSVP'd, so I'll be glad to see you. And when you get in town, if you got some time, look, we'll go get some barbecue.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes,
I'm in.
Yes.
It's funny. Everybody says that. So I'm going to have to really be light on like who I say yes to with that. Because if I do that 11 times,
right,
I don't know if I'll come back the same person, if you know what I
mean. You will not. But yes, for sure. When you get in town, I'm already RSVP'd. I'm looking forward to the party.
And I can't wait to watch. Like, I think that's going to be cool. Like, I'm super pumped to watch you guys play over at PickleCon. Like, it's just going to be great. Just in general, like, I think it's going to be awesome. But I've had a thing for the MLP and the NPL, so I'm pumped to see it. Good luck to you in Cincinnati, and then we will see you in person in August. Really pumped for it. But good luck along the way, Daryl, and we'll definitely be watching the Kansas City Steelers.
Hey, thank you so much again for having me. I appreciate it, and I'll look forward to seeing you. You want to get some games in? Definitely give me a call. We'll get some in when you come in.
And I'm ready to sign on the dotted line in 11 years.
Hey, I'll have that contract ready. All right, take care.
Can you, if that's gonna happen, make sure you get the inflation, plan out for the future.
We'll figure that in. We'll get some good sponsorships in there too. So we'll have you all set.
All right, Daryl. Good luck. We'll be watching.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a good day.